Good morning, gang. Good morning. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is for educational purposes only. So, this week we've had quite a few requests, so we're going to have to plow through them as quick as possible. So we're going to be looking at Solana, Arbitrum, PERP, OP, and is it DYDX? Is that how you pronounce it? DYDX. I don't really know. I don't really care. Either way, it's another altcoin to trade. So yes, we're going to take a deep dive into these coins. Before we get into today's video, then first and foremost, a big thanks out to today's video sponsor, which is DYDX. If you don't know what DYDX are, they are a crypto exchange where you can not only trade crypto, but you can also trade FX, commodities, and stock indices. And the beauty of these guys is you can use crypto as collateral. Okay, so if you use our link down in the description, you can get up to a $5,000 deposit bonus. You can also get a free $100 trade, and obviously it supports the channel. So yeah, big thanks to DYDX. Right, moving on. There we go. Sol. So let's bring up some of our old TA on this one, because as I opened the chart this morning, I realised we've still got some old TA going on. So we'll zoom into the daily chart and zoom out here. And obviously, if you guys have been following along for any decent amount of time, then, you know, if you were still within this swing trade, happy days. You're looking at a 45% move since the highs. And obviously, this was the retest that we pointed out on the following video that we gave out. So once again, you know, good trade, 31% swing trade, both of them. And yeah, happy days. So let's hide these. And let's take a look, because obviously there's a lot of chatter at the moment about Sol, and it's all to do with the FTX. I think the assets being liquidated in the next week or so, or whatever. And Sol's a big asset, so yeah, it's just quite entertaining watching everyone panicking about the news. Right, let's just get rid of this now. Let's get rid of this. There we go. So, do I think it's going to make a difference? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and lap like some of the YouTubers and some of the crypto Twitter gang that lap and said that it's going to crash or it's just going to be a non-event and price is going to moon. I really don't care. We're just trading level to level in this environment, aren't we? Because at the end of the day, we're still coming down. Okay, until this starts coming up, then yeah, overall high time frame, we're still in a downtrend. Okay, still in a downtrend, so don't get too excited. Right, so where we are now, am I interested in this? Not really. Okay, so as I've said before, the resistance to the upside, which has been tapped many times, well, let's be honest, we tapped it many times here, we broke through it, and we ended up getting this deviation into this point of control here, which then caused the next sell-off. Okay, so if we do start to pop up from here, eyes back on these old range lows, which are from the top range. Obviously, this range comes back from April 21. Okay, and it was finally broken November 22. Okay, so big level is this. If we can successfully flip this level and start moving higher, taking out this high, then the guys that were calling for these highs here to be taken will finally get the wish. Okay, now each one of these significant highs, starting with this one, and this one, can offer a pullback. Okay, so if we just draw that out, this one, this one, and this one, and now you sat there wondering why I'm pointing out these highs. Well, this is where high time frame liquidity is sitting. Okay, so each one of these highs can cause a pullback. Okay, now whether that's a full-on reversal or just a simple pullback before continuation, I couldn't tell you, because nobody can. Okay, and anyone that pretends that they can tell you is just talking out the backside. Okay, the reason why you watch this channel is because it's no nonsense, no bullshit, it's just straight to the point. So if we start coming up here and we take out these highs and we get a decent pullback with some weakness, then that'd be a short all day long. Exactly the same for this level here. Okay, if we do start getting above this level without a pullback, then this move here up towards the EQ will likely be fairly fast. Okay, because it's thin. It's a thin zone. Okay, so the main areas to the upside to be aware of: old range lows, liquidity, EQ, liquidity. Okay, so if you are longing any of this and you are in an uptrend, then these would definitely be take profit targets and or looking for hedging positions. Okay, so that's to the upside. Excuse me. To the downside, this is where it becomes a little bit more fun. Okay, so if we continue to roll over from here, then these lows here become key. If you come down, take out these lows, get a nice change in market structure and start to see some strength, then that could be a long opportunity. If not, then we're targeting these lows here. Okay, these lows here, these are key. If these lows don't hold, then we're coming back down to this old range. Okay, which is this old range that caused the breakout in the first place. So these are key. So this level here, which is coming in at what, roughly, bear in mind each exchange is different, $7.96. Okay, call it $8 for easy numbers. That low there is significant. If you can flip that and stay above that, then we just continue this range in between the macro top range and the macro bottom range. Okay, and we just continue trading that range. But as I say, if this doesn't hold, then we can be looking back down here. And if we come back down here, then we've got to ask the question, do we get acceptance back into here to continue trading this? Or do we quite simply come down, maybe get a bit of a fake out inside it, get all the people shorting into it? Okay, again, breakout shorts that can see that this is a clear SR level. So you'll get people down here that start aggressively shorting the move and then run it back, which then will result in a short squeeze to the upside. Okay, but right now, where we are here, I've got no interest in this as a low time frame or swing trade. No interest at all, because we've got resistance above and we've got this liquidity just below us. So where we are right now, we're kind of in between these two key points. So I've no interest in trading this right now. Okay, your time to trade this was the swing that we give you at the top, and then the next option was the retest when we drop back outside that range. Okay, so if you're still holding on to shorts, great, make sure you're skimming profits off as we go down. That way, if it does turn around and stop you out, it's a winning trade regardless. And if it does continue to drop, then happy days, let the profits run. Okay, but as I say, for me here, this is just no trade zone. Okay, quite simply. Right, next, Arbitrum. Wow, this don't look great, does it? It's the first time I've looked at this chart since we originally charted it back here, give or take. I think we had a range going on. I'm pretty sure the original range that we had on this would have been something along those lines. Possibly here. Yeah, give or take regardless. Yeah. Okay. Now, as we can see here, where we are, okay? We're back down at the outer deviation. Okay, so if you are bullish on this asset, if you are bullish, this region down here needs to hold. Okay, needs to hold if you're bullish. Okay, if it does start to hold and then we start changing some low time frame structure, bear in mind we're looking on a daily chart right here, then it's potentially an opportunity to look for longs. Okay, and if you do get the long opportunity here and we can make it up, then we're looking back at the old range lows. Okay, from here, the old range lows. If you get a rejection there, it's a damn good time to be taking some profits if you are long, and also maybe a time to hedge. Okay, if we flip this and start getting back within the range, excuse me, then we can be looking for a larger run up. And if we do get that larger run up, then I'll be targeting this liquidity above these highs here, which then comes into the Q region. Okay, so if you get this up here, then you get the short trigger, great, be taking that short all day long. If not, let it run higher. And then once again, you get your range highs. Now, any one of our members understands what to do with this range fib, especially down at these regions here. And if we do start to break this region and get back into it, then the guys in our private group, who's learned from me, will know where I'd be expecting price to go from there. So obviously, if you want to understand this and how to use this range fib tool and statistic what's likely if this happens, then first and foremost, come over to our website, spitfiretraders.com. Free Discord right here if you want to come into our free Discord. But obviously, if you do want to learn and understand that strategy that comes along with that play that I've just talked about, then come join our members group. Within this, you get access to over 30 educational modules. And yes, I still haven't updated this. In fact, I'm going to do it straight after this video. So over 30 educational modules that you can learn from, including how to use this range fib and the statistics behind it. And you'll also get access to my daily trading plans, which cover not only Bitcoin, but altcoins, Forex, and stock indices. So yeah, all for the grand old price of $59.95 Great British Pounds, okay? Or in US dollar terms, that's $75, okay? So, moving on to this. This is key for me now, is this. Obviously, if it does continue to roll over, then I'm not going to start forecasting bottom targets, okay? Because from there, what I'd be wanting to see is I'm wanting to see an established range. So if we do start to roll over, let's just get rid of this. If this starts to roll over further and coming down, then what I'm not in the game of here is I'm not trying to catch and predict a bottom, because we've got no previous price history down here. Okay, so we've got no previous price history to work from to create some clear SR levels. So what I'd be wanting to do is waiting patiently for this to start forming a range. And then once it starts forming the range, then we start developing some clear SR levels. Okay, so therefore we know where we can take a long and we know where we can take profit or hedge our position. So this is what I'd be looking for. I'd be waiting for that range to start forming, or quite simply coming down, getting a decent bounce, changing some structure, and then looking for an opportunity to get back involved, okay, on a higher time frame, potentially swing trade opportunity. So I've got no intention of trying to predict a bottom if this current outside deviation of this range fib doesn't hold, right? So that's Arbitrum. Next is PERP. Oof, look at this move. I know one of the guys in the group was looking at this at the time. Great pump up from the lows. What's that? It's 221%. And then since the highs, it's down 50-odd%. Well, right. So, first and foremost, I'm going to do exactly what I've done with Bitcoin. And we're going to take these old June lows from 22. And we're going to go up to these highs here. And we're going to see if this creates a range. Okay? I'll do it this way. There we go. We've got a nice range. So we've got range lows, range highs established. Then we'll come back down. We've got range low, EQ. It's a very nice range. Very nice range. Okay, so... Oh, by the way, I'm conscious that I say okay a lot because one of our viewers pointed it out on last week's stream, and I'm trying not to say it as much. But I've discovered, being from Yorkshire, I seem to say it a hell of a lot. Anyway, where we are right now. Am I interested in trading right here? No, I'm not, because we're kind of in no man's land. We're obviously this initial pump up that we got, we're now near as damn it all the way back through it. So what I need to look for is let's draw on a volume profile from here to here. You can see that we've got a point of control just below it. So we've got a point of control coming in roughly around 56, 57 cents for easy numbers, 56 call it. And then we've got the range lows at the bottom. So this would be, for me, an area of interest down at this region down here. That's assuming that this holds. So if we come down into this region and we start breaking some structure, then we can start looking at long trades. So we've had this initial aggressive pump up, trapped a load of breakout traders up here, and then we've had a full retrace, and then what I'd be looking for is, and I'd be looking similar to the Arbitrum setup, I'd be looking for some form of range to form within this zone. If no range forms within this zone, then I'd be looking for price to come down a bit lower. And if it does start to come down lower, then I'd be looking for at least these lows to be swept, but more likely these lows. So then if we start coming back down, give me that long trigger then happy days, I'll look for that long. If not, then we look for lower prices. So this would be a key zone for me. This zone here kind of needs to hold. Because if this zone doesn't hold, then we're taking the stops from below there. Now, what if this just turns around from here and it doesn't come down into this AOI and it starts to go up? Well, if it starts to go up, then first and foremost, we can see here, value area high, EQ to contend with. Okay, that's going to be resistance initially. If we can start to flip this and get above this, then we can start looking back up towards range highs and potentially grabbing the liquidity from there. And we're just continuing to trade this range. Okay, now whether you want to say that this is an accumulation range, whether it's a distribution range, I don't really care. It's a nice range to trade. It's a big range to trade. It's a swing trader's range. So that's what I've been looking for here. I'm right here where we are now. I'm not interested in longs. I'm not interested in shorts. I would be interested if we roll over, start to form a low time frame range down here and give me that change of market structure to the upside, then I'll be looking for longs. Okay, if not, let it roll down lower. OP's next. Got some old TA on this. Is it still relevant? Yes, it is. Pull this along. There we go. Right, okay. Let's pull this volume profile along so we can see where the volume is. Ah, nice. OP. So we're coming back up into the queue. So this should be a sticky region where we are now. We can see here that we've got some volume here. We've got some high volume nodes here. This is a bit of a sticky region. So if we pop up above the EQ, then we've got liquidity here. Now let's zoom into this so you can see this a little bit more clearly. We do have liquidity above these highs. So one plan, pop up, pop down, clear deviation, grab the stops from up here, bit of a liquidity hunt to continue down, potentially a lower term time frame short trigger right there. Where would I be targeting? Well, I'd be targeting to take out these lows initially, but then more likely coming into at least the EQ / range lows, value area low. Okay, now likewise, where those take profit targets are, they could be some zones to then look for longs. So we've got point of control. Now bear in mind, we have already tagged this point of control once. So this is something you got to keep in mind. There's a wick down here that could be filled if it does come down. So if it does come down, then it's likely not going to be as clean as this initial wick. It might be a little bit more messy. So if it does come down, then gives me something to work from, i.e. starts to form a range and then starts to create a series of high highs and high lows, then we might have a long trigger. If not, then quite simply, I'm looking back down at this zone here, which would effectively be running these stops, coming back down into this value area low / overall range low. If it does come right down towards these range lows though, I'd be looking for that liquidity swept. Because 3 perfect taps on this range low just wouldn't sit right with me. Just similar to what we've seen on Bitcoin. If you watched last week's Bitcoin update, and obviously what's happened over the past couple of days, we've had these, you know, triple bottoms, 1, 2, 3, and, you know, people long these for some reason, but it's just clear as hell that you just got liquidity above, below, so therefore you just run those stops before turning it around, and it's exactly what's happened. So if we do come down to these range lows, that's what I'd be looking for, these lows to be swept. Okay, bit of a different story if we stop at value area low. To the upside, if we don't get that deviation, let's just clear some of this up. If we don't get that deviation and we just start to run up, then first and foremost, these highs followed by value area high. So if we do start running up and these don't cause a significant pullback, then we can be looking at this value area high, potentially a deviation of these, grab the liquidity, looking for short triggers. If that doesn't happen and we start to break out of value, then we can start looking up towards, first and foremost, around 215, give or take, / the range high. Okay, so if we then get a nice short setup there, then we're just continuing to trade this range, and this being one big deviation. Simple. It really is. It's not hard. You know, trading a range, find an established piece of price action, draw a range on it, look at where the volume is within said range, and trade from there. They're your key levels. Okay, there is more to it than that, but it's pretty simple. Right, DYDX, or however it's called. Let's have a look at this. Again, we've got some nice June lows to work with from last year. June lows up to the highs. That gives us an established range. Very similar situation to most altcoins. So we've got the low, we've got the high, we've got the clear respect to the EQ. High, low, yeah, there we go. And the outside deviations also got respect there. So, an established range, in my opinion. Now, this is kind of the same as OP, but on the reverse. So, right now, we're currently bouncing off the EQ. Bounced off it several times. Let's throw on a volume profile so we can see where the bulk of the volume is in this range. There we go. So, the bulk of the volume's above there, roughly at 246. And then we've also got the point of control here, and we've got a sticky zone here. Below this, it becomes a little bit thinner. Right, interesting. So, if we do lose this EQ and come down, potentially down into the value area lower region, and get a trigger, then we've got effectively this little mini range here to trade. If it does then start to flip the EQ, then we can look back up at these highs. If we start to flip those range highs, then 246 above that, coming in to overall range high / value area high. So that's what I'll be looking for here. Once again, I'll be looking for a liquidity grab, similar but reversed as OP, because we've got stops below these lows here. Now, if that doesn't offer us a setup and it just continues to roll over, then looking at these lows, but likelihood is if these lows are taken, then we can start looking back down towards range lows. Now, once again, as I say, range lows, you've got nearest damn a perfect tap there, you've got a perfect tap there. So at the very least, I'd be looking for something like that. Grab this liquidity from down here before turning around. And again, just because it drops below this, now this is something that's key, is people just think, oh, well, it's dropped below there, it's taking the liquidity from there, let's just long it, let's just catch this wick. Well, what if it just continues going down? It could just continue going down. And then what you're going to do is keep longing every single wick on the way down and just getting stopped. Or worst case scenario, getting liquidated every single time and reloading your account. No, you don't do that. You wait for it to reclaim. That's what you do. You want to see that strength. So you've seen this happen. Chances are a lot of breakout traders will get involved in this as well, because they love thinking that everything is just going to continue in one straight line. Let them get stopped out. Give us that change of market structure. Give us that reclaim of range low. Then look for the long trigger. If it doesn't give this side, then you've got no long. Simple as that. Just let it roll over. And if it's going to roll over, then we've got outside deviation 1, which you'll be looking at 52. And you've got outside deviation 2, which you'll be looking at roughly around 13 cents. So that's what we're looking at with all this. So upside highs, followed by range highs. So 1, 2. Downside, value area low, stop run, or range lows. And if range lows don't hold, then we can be looking at these. Okay, just level to level. We're still in the level to level environment. We're not in a trending environment. Just look at this chart. It's sideways. It's sideways. We've had the initial pump up, the FOMO pump, on creation. This is going to $100, whatever crazy targets people were saying. Then we've had a significant sell-off, and now we've got sideways. And this is the time where you can get involved in this sideways. You've got a lovely range here to trade. Okay, there's some decent money to be made within this range. I mean, as a range, it's what, 170%? Again, it's another swing trader's range. It's great. You set, enter your position, you set some take profits, and you sit back. And you just leave it to run. Simple. Right, that'll do. If you've learned something today, hit that like button. Or if you've enjoyed the content, hit that like button. Let us know down in the comments what altcoins you want covering next week. And until next time, gang, as you were. Bye-bye.